Hi, I'm Jasmine Terry, and I'm here today with Ashley Mae Watson to talk about the process of preparing a speech for a college public speaking class. Ashley just finished giving her speech of significance, discussing House Bill 89, and I'm interested to hear, how did the speech of significance flow with the other speeches that you had to give in the class? And it's my understanding it's the first of 3 assignments. And how will all these assignments work together to get interact in the class?
Okay, yes, Jasmine, I really understood the series of 3 speeches as a progression, almost like a ladder. You start with step 1, you establish that foundation, you step up to 2, and then you step up to 3, and that's really how the speeches work. Speech of significance, as I explained, is mostly just, what is this? Why should we care? Those are the questions it answers. Moving on to step 2, the informative speech is a more in-depth look at all perspectives on the issue. It's what Dr. Lawrence would call good journalism.
Good journalism. Gotcha.
And then finally, the third speech, the persuasive speech, is just taking it to an extreme level. So it's like, we know what this is, we know everything there is in depth about it from the informative speech. Now, what do we do with this information? And that's where I put my spin on things.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to give away the surprise, but I make suggestions about House Bill 89 and that sort of thing. Right. So it's more the application step.
You, along with everyone else in the class, had to choose one topic.
Yes.
Now,
One.
how did you go about selecting the topic that you chose?
Oh, it just came to me
This
in
came
a
to
dream.
you.
I had a vision.
Oh, wow.
And I knew this is what I wanted to do. No. I had an internship where this situation came up, and the idea of House Bill 89 kind of came to the forefront. And I started thinking about it and realizing that, deeper down, I've always kind of had a problem with guns. Not that I don't think, I believe in the Second Amendment just like everybody else, but I'm not really comfortable around guns. There are situations which I just don't see as necessary for a gun. That's what I believe our law enforcement is for. So for me, it was just interesting to meet a bill that allows citizens the right to carry a weapon. And in Georgia there are no training requirements, and you compare that to law enforcement who trained for so much time to carry their weapons. So to me, it was just an interesting bill. So basically, it was intriguing to me, and that's kind of how I fell into it based on my background with the way I felt about guns.
And it seemed like, just from what you're saying now, that it seemed like it would be a good topic in which you could find your voice and actually be passionate about researching it and actually finding, eventually your own take on how you felt about it.
That is very important. I think it ended up well this way, because what I was doing at first, I had a brainstorming list, and I was thinking about issues I cared about. So I would think of something like, animal welfare, things like that. And I was writing them down, and then I just felt like that was kind of a roundabout way to get to something really specific, because those are so broad. You need something
timely.
Right, and timely. You need something that is relevant. You need something that is very refined, so that you can work with it. You don't want all the gristle and everything. You want the piece of meat. You know what I'm saying? So it was a challenge to do it that way. But since I had my internship, it came to me very specifically, House Bill 89, and then I traced that back to the larger issue of gun control, which is kind of what this is about.
Right.
And then it just kind of all flowered from there. Yeah.
So you have a semester-long class. The semester is about 4 months.
Yes.
And 4 months you're using to actually research this topic and really develop it into 3 unique speeches. So the research process itself, how did you go about initially really gathering information about House Bill 89?
Trial and error. Yeah.
Okay.
I looked a lot of places, and I wasn't finding much. I mean, I think it's always good to just start with a simple Google search or any search engine, any internet search, because you'll get a lot of the, timely pieces, like local newspaper articles online. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the AJC. I use that a lot. So I started there, just the basic, what is this bill all about, to get the news information. And then I probably took it a step further to see, the larger issue, like I said, gun control is an issue that's been around for a long time, and so there's research on both sides of the gun control debate. So then I took it to, a library database and started looking at LexisNexis, law reviews, ProQuest, things like that, to try to find studies and research articles that showed me the reason why opponents and supporters arrived at the places that they have. Because, our legislature, our politicians are not stupid people. They know they need evidence to back up a claim, which is what we're learning doing this. So I wanted to find what some of those common places of evidence might be.
And as it relates to the advocates and the opponents, did you see that you had an overwhelming amount of, more advocate
On one side or the
evidence,
other?
more opponent
Not
evidence?
really, because I think I did a smart thing in the beginning. I knew who the advocates would be. I knew the NRA would be
Right.
an advocate.
Right.
I knew Georgia Carry, a
Right.
big gun organization in Georgia, would be an advocate. So I kind of knew those. I wasn't sure about the kind of anti-gun groups.
Gotcha.
So I just did a group for gun control in Georgia search or whatever, and it came up with Georgians for Gun Safety. And then I found in a newspaper article that the Georgia Association of Chiefs of Police wasn't really too fond of the bill.
fond of it, right.
So just kind of that way, I kind of
Right.
divided them up that way.
Right. And then I see in your hand taking all the information that you just had and compiling it into something that you can actually use to help you.
Right.
What do you have there?
This is my binder.
All right.
This contains every bit of information I have on this
Wow.
bill.
Wow.
And it's not even comprehensive.
Wow.
I mean, it's just what I found. But just to walk you through it, what I have on the inside is I have just the syllabus first for the class. I have that first. And then I have these little tabs here, and I'll read what I divided that up. I divided it into supporters of the bill. There's an opponent section, a news and background information section.
Okay.
Also academic essays were a section, and then finally studies.
Now, the news and background tab. Tell me a little bit about what's in that section.
Looking here, I have a lot about news from the AJC, like I already mentioned, Dawson Daily Times, Valdosta Times, local newspapers, and also just kind of news from when other states passed concealed carry laws that I got from
Gotcha.
databases
Okay.
and things like that, and also a great article about this man who shot himself in the leg.
Wow.
I love that one. That one's my favorite.
So it's not necessarily pro or advocate information.
No, it's just general,
updating you about the
general
bill.
background
Okay.
information
Okay.
and what people's rights are with guns
Gotcha.
in certain
Okay.
states and things like that.
And then the one after that one is the
Academic essays.
academic essays. And tell us a little bit about
Essays.
what's in that section per se.
Right. I have a lot of information that I probably didn't use in any of my speeches, but I think it helped me better understand the topic. So
Gotcha.
I would always encourage students who are going through this process to just find everything they can. You're going to use certain things that help prove your point and support your point. But I think all of it helps with the overall general picture so that you don't have such a myopic view of what's actually going on. Right, exactly.
Great.
But I have an essay about the early origins of the modern gun control debate
Oh,
since like
wow.
1776 on what
Wow.
gun control meant.
Wow.
It's very interesting. I have an article about how someone believes that gun control or the availability of guns will reduce violent crime. I have, let's see, there's a good one in here about the different opinions about how a person's place of residence within a state, like whether they're urban or rural dwellers, how that can
Wow.
change their opinions on guns.
guns,
So
yeah.
a lot of things like that
Yeah.
in this section. And then the last section is studies. I found a study on occupations which have the highest risk of gun violence.
Wow.
There's a study on
Interesting.
that.
Interesting.
There's a study on employer policies towards guns and how that affects risk of violence in the workplace. And then I also have a study on gun availability and how that relates to violent crime. So, if people can get more guns legally, is that going
Right.
to increase or reduce crime?
Right.
So those sorts of articles are in that section.
So you clearly did your research here, and this binder looks phenomenal.
Thank
I'm
you.
just wondering how much
It's actually
time
starting to
bend, right?
under the sheer weight of information
Wow.
I have in here. But
Wow. And another question, I guess, as it relates to the class itself. When you're in class, taking notes, whether it, I don't know exactly how the class is situated, but is this specifically for your topic, or do you also keep class notes or jot anything else in this binder as well?
in this binder, I don't have anything in
Except
here.
the syllabus.
Well, I guess it's all stuff I've done in the class, but just the syllabus. Like if I
Okay.
take notes, I'll put that in something else. I wanted this to be my strictly House Bill 89
Strictly House Bill.
information.
Keep it separate and organized.
Right, because
Gotcha.
when I want to consult it, when I was, writing my speeches, when I needed a piece of information, I wanted this to be just what I was looking for.
Right.
And easily,
Right.
if I know that all of this is only House Bill 89 background information, I can just flip to the tab I need. I know a lot of these articles by heart. I swear now, I've read them so many times. So I know that when I look at the opponent's side, I'm going to find the NRA, or not, in the advocate side, I'm going to find the NRA fact sheet, which is talking about why House Bill 89 is a great bill.
Right,
So I know
right.
to look for that in there.
Right. Well, Ashley, that was very, very helpful. I'm sure students across America will be, very
Making a
interested
binder
by
every
that.
time.
Make them buy a binder, right?
Yes.
Well,
Good
thank you.
investment.
Good investment. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Jess.